I'm Josh Taylor from Metrojacksonville.com, bringing the online conversation to you. This month, our development and construction update focuses on one of the most historic areas of Jacksonville, Brooklyn, especially alongside Riverside Avenue. Before the development of the streetcar suburb of Riverside, Brooklyn flourished as one of downtown's most spectacular districts. But during the last 30 years, the general decay of the urban core sent the neighborhood crumbling under the wrecking ball in favor of high-flying proposals that never materialized. However, a recent flood of solid, vetted projects and proposals promise to create a mile of exciting and dense development that combined will form a district unlike anything in the urban core since downtown's heyday. Not only are scores of residential units and acres of commercial development being proposed, but institutions like the Riverside YMCA and the Cummer Museum of Art and Gardens are also implementing major expansions. And despite stunted growth elsewhere in the city, this seemingly accidental combination of projects near the urban core is forging ahead to create a vibrant and diverse explosion of development. First off is 220 Riverside, a 294-unit, 7-story multifamily housing development with 18,000 square feet of retail space, all centered around a community park. This $39.5 million project is currently under construction after breaking ground earlier this year. Also being proposed is Riverside Place, which will feature 310 multifamily units in 4 separate 4-story buildings. Developers have also proposed Brooklyn Retail as part of that project, over 50,000 square feet of retail anchored by a proposed grocery store, pharmacy, and several restaurants. Which brings us to the new Riverside Y, a 3-story, 85,000 square foot facility which will include new park space facing the Riverwalk. These $21 million new digs will replace the aging YMCA complex along Riverside Avenue. Capping these developments to the south of the Fuller Warren is the beautiful new unified campus of the Cummer Museum of Art and Gardens, which includes massive expansions and improvements along both sides of Riverside Avenue. Now, while the Brooklyn developments are generally regarded as a boon to the community, there are planning issues that need to be addressed. Consider the traffic. Many local residents remember the horrific traffic snarls that used to clog up this mile-long stretch of road, turning Riverside Avenue into a sea of parking at peak traffic hours. These issues led planners at the 1960s to suggest demolishing half of the historic neighborhood to build an expressway for all the vehicular traffic. While the new development will bring exciting new options and an urban lifestyle to the entire area, they will not solve those old problems. In fact, they will result in even more serious transportation issues than the ones historically faced by the neighborhood. Combined, the residential projects will be adding more than 600 units, which could mean more than 1,000 additional daily drivers. And while little to no planning has taken place to address this coming Carmageddon in Riverside, there are simple solutions which should be looked at now to avoid very expensive options later. Planners have pointed out the presence of a Skyway facility bordering the new district, a service building with capabilities to serve as a full-fledged station. With a minimal investment, the Skyway, long considered Jacksonville's least useful public project, could be converted into a transportation connection that would alleviate traffic and parking in both Brooklyn and downtown while connecting the two neighborhoods. Using this station as a connection point to other forms of Riverside transit would significantly reduce the number of cars and congestion in the area for years to come. Advocates highlight the partially completed bicycle paths along Riverside Avenue, which, if completed, could reduce congestion while simultaneously promoting a healthier community. And national sentiment dictates that it is probably time for Jacksonville to join scores of cities around the country and push forward on the return to the original streetcars which made dense life in most metropolitan centers possible in the first place. Considering the economic downturn of the past few years, thinking about how to deal with the issues presented by development is a luxury, but conscientiously doing so will ensure that projects like this remain an incredible asset to the Jacksonville community far into the future. To follow along with even more in-depth analysis, conversation, and solutions, log on to Metrojacksonville.com or like us on Facebook. Join the conversation on our forums and get involved. Thanks for joining us for the Development Update. I'm Josh Taylor from Metrojacksonville.com.